All right, great. Thank you. The guy at the back can't hear me, so that's good enough. So hi, everyone. My name is May. I'm co-founder and CEO of LeadIQ. And today, I will be sharing a little bit of our journey growing and building a sales pipeline. So a little bit about myself. Prior to LeadIQ, I used to be a product manager at Oracle. I was there for 10 years, a little bit too long, before I finally decided that it's time to, I saw some familiar faces. You know me when I was at Oracle. So, and then I decided to try to work in a startup. So 4 years ago, I left Oracle to join my co-founder working on a startup that eventually became LeadIQ. LeadIQ was not the first thing that we work on. We pivoted to get to what LeadIQ is. I am not a salesperson. I do not have a sales background, so we did a lot of trial and error to learn what we learned today to get to where we are today. So as the founder, I was the first salesperson of the company. And throughout the past 4 years, we grew the sales team, and today we have 7 salespeople working for our company. So what I would like to share is that outbound sales is very important, especially for early startup. Because if you are working for an enterprise or a larger startup, you typically have a brand that at least some people recognize. You have credibility, you have reputation. When you are in an early startup, you have none of that. No brand, no credibility, no one have heard who you are. It's much harder, and why outbound sales is even more important. So most of you would probably have heard of Zenefits. They were, at their glory days, was one of the most hyped company in Silicon Valley. Workday and Salesforce took about 4 years to get from 0 to 20 million ARR. Zenefits took half of that, so just about 2 years. It was really good. They did something good, and of course now Slack is the golden child. I think Slack did it even in a shorter time than what Zenefits did. But let's listen a little bit to what did Zenefits do. How did they do it from 0 to 20 million ARR in 2 years? Oh, there's no audio? Can we get the audio up? Sorry. Bear with us for a few seconds. Yeah. Right. Well. So, in any case, Zenefits started as a Y Combinator company. The first 3 months, they hired Matt Epstein, who you will be hearing him talking soon, to just do a lot of prospecting, cold emailing and A/B testing. Who's the right audience? Who's the right person? They thought it's simple because they are selling an HR software. They should be talking to the HR people. But in the end, what they realize is that when they are emailing the HR people, they don't respond to them. So even though they are an HR software, which the most obvious people that would be using them is the HR people, no one responds back to them. Only after A/B testing, sending to different people, they realize that when they send it to the CEO or the CFO of the company, then they get more response. Then it will eventually forward it to the HR people. So that's one of their learning. It looks like the audio doesn't work, so we'll skip it. I'll move on. But that's, they took almost 3 months A/B testing this. It would be more exciting to hear it from Matt rather than me, but that's a summary. If the audio works, we may try to play this again, right? So, given that, we decided as a company that we wanted to invest in outbound sales too. We tried to hire our first SDR, and I'm going to share our journey on how we did that and what happened, what's the learning, what's the ups and what's the down. So, the first thing we did, we launched LeadIQ in April 2015. About 6 months later, we hired our very first marketing, which luckily is a good person who's very experienced in cold emailing. He was an SDR in another company called Dine before. So one thing that most companies do not pay a lot of attention in is that as an early company, the first impression matters. As we mentioned, right, no one have heard of you. You have no reputation. So the first thing they will try to gather about you is that from your website or your blogs or your emails when you are sending an email about who are you, what kind of company are you, do I even want to talk to you? Now, most people spend a ton of time in building their website, designing it so it looks nice. What do you want to talk about it? Maybe 10 to 100 hours. You'll spend a bit of time, maybe hire a content person to work on your blogs, making sure that you are giving good contents. But when you are sending cold email, most people don't even think about it. You just type it up and sending it. And as a result, today, most of you probably know it too. You have received tons of cold emails that the content is just junk, right? And most people are now thinking that cold emails is equal to spam, and you will be deleting most of them, right? We believe in this, and we spend a ton of time rethinking our cold email. How can we make sure that our cold email is received by the recipient, and how would they think about it when they first see this email? Here is some example of our cold emails. Ryan, the first marketing person that we have, who's our prospector, wrote this to a sales leader in a company because we want to talk to them about our product. We want to get their feedback. So we didn't sell even about our product. He just like say, hey JR, I'm not a gifted musician, but I made this for you. Lyrics are in the description. Any chance we could snag time to talk next week? We just say that this is a cool prospecting tool we're building and we can help you guys. What are your thoughts? And there is in the link, there's a, oh, is the audio still not working? There's a video. And then in the video, in the link, there is a video to this. Okay, can you hear a little bit? Let's go.
Application satisfaction, you're the best infrastructure tools. We would like to talk to you about your
He's a little off tune, yes.
We know that you're really busy, so we wrote this song to sing. VM Turbo, can we talk and get you some new leads?
Okay,
VM Turbo, can we talk about your prospecting? JR, we know you're the best. That's why we made this song.
Yeah. You get the idea, right? The key here was that all we're trying to do is get their attention and let's meet. And then we talk about the rest during the meeting, right? So by making this video, we catch the guy's attention. This is the response. We're not seeing it here. Oh. So we got a response right away. Ryan, I'm in for a call next week, and so is my boss. And seeing the whole sales team. They just were so impressed by the amount of effort put into this email that they were like, yeah, I'm down to talk. We didn't close this, but we got a good meeting out of it. It turned out like we were too small, our product was too little, with what they're looking for, but we got a good first meeting. And in the early days, we did a ton of this, just trying to get meetings with people. This is another song for another company that was also personalized. It doesn't scale, but we did maybe 10 to 15 of this kind of cold emails with videos, right? That's the early days, how we first get a real company to start like talking to us. So once we did that for a couple of months, we see that it's working. We can get people to talk to us. In May 2016, we hired our very first SDR to try to replicate what Ryan did. So Ryan is quite a personality. He's comfortable singing in a video. Our first SDR is not like that. Doesn't matter. The goal was just that we want to personalize. So he does different things. He searches LinkedIn, he makes sure what are they interested in, and he still make it personalized. It's not video anymore, but it still works. So since we hired our first SDR, we implemented Salesforce and we started tracking, and you can see the number of new opportunities created was going up. We thought, this is working. This is great. But what happened was that ops are growing, but revenue is flat. We were not closing those ops. So outbound ops are actually kind of hard. They tend to be longer cycle. You want to close them, but doesn't mean that you can always close them yet in the beginning. But you start dancing with them. You're nurturing them. So there are a couple of things that were happening for us at that point of time, actually. So first is that I was still the very first and the only salesperson of the company then, up until this point. This is when we hired our very first AE. So I think because we started getting more and more customers, we did not actually have enough people to handhold them. We are still early. Many people still need to be taught on how to use it. So when we hired our very first AE, it freed me a little bit to work with each customer. When they were not happy about something, we can actually build it quickly for them. And then our revenue starts going up again. So now, I mentioned to you that we hired our first SDR and our first AE. Opportunity starts going up. In November 2016, we decided to scale it. Let's build 3 more SDRs, right? So we hired a second AE and we hired more SDRs. But the next 6 months, opportunities stay flat. So when we hired one SDR, we were making about maybe 30K in opportunities every quarter. As we hire more SDRs, somehow it's just spread between the 3 of them. So something is wrong. So we started learning what happened. The opportunities are just not coming. And we learn about, but having the SDRs help us to learn. At that point of time, LeadIQ, we are a software that helps sales team get more prospect and contact information. At that point of time, we only have emails. We don't have phone numbers. And we started reaching out more companies, but most of the companies do not want to pursue further when they learn that we are email-only providers. We were lacking phone numbers. So this period of time, we realized that it's hard for us to continue growing if we don't have phone numbers. The SDRs help us to learn that. So we started we need to grow this. We need to fix the phone numbers and make that available too. So in August 2017, we killed the SDR team, realizing it doesn't work. We just move one person to customer success, move another person to a closing role, and we actually did not have any SDR team at all for a couple of months. Then in November 2017, the phone numbers is available. We started to take another step at this. Let's do this again. And this time too, we realized that through our first experience that SDRs are a pretty hard role that it requires a certain personality. You need someone who does not give up easily, who's resilient. And typically people hire out of college graduates. And it's very hard to train them, and they need a lot of training. We don't have the skills and we don't have the bandwidth and the capacities to actually train. That's part of the failure with our first batch of the SDR team. So this time around, we decided to hire experienced SDR, where this batch of people, they have been an SDR before in another company for at least 3 years or 4 years. And then we hire them with LeadIQ. You have done this before. You know what's coming. You know what you need to do. You just need to do it again. But this time it's easier because you are selling to folks like yourself. Our product sells to SDRs, right? So they got it. Oh yeah, I would use, as an SDR, I would use this product, and it's easier for me to sell that. So we tried that, and it actually works really well. Sorry, I'm clearly not knowing how to navigate this. It actually worked really well. As you can see, starting then, our opportunity starts going up again. So what I wanted to share more too here is that we have had a lot of questions because we work with many companies who hire SDR. When should we hire in-house SDR, and when should we outsource it? In our experience, right, when you don't have the time to invest in it or you do not have the bandwidth, outsourcing may make sense. Typically, it's cheaper to get started. It's easier. It's about $6,000 per month for an agency to start testing out for you. They will work on finding ideal customer profiles, finding some contacts, working on some email templates, but you still have to work with them closely as if they're your in-house team, because in the early days, there's still a lot of A/B testing on messaging and value proposition. If you just fully outsource it, like for us, for example, we may never have learned that the problem we were not closing the ops or we were not getting the ops was phone numbers. Because we have that in-house, the people were just like, I can't sell this because we don't have the phone numbers. The agency may just not care to dig deeper on why it is, or if you don't have a good communication, you may not understanding it, and you just may feel like the agency doesn't work out, and you find another agency. You need to communicate and really treat them like an in-house SDR. But in the long run, an in-house SDR is really needed because it's hard to scale with agency. Once you get an in-house SDR running, if you have processes that you can train new people on how to hire, how to train, and how to scale them, then once you're ready to scale, it's very easy to just add another body, and you know how many ops you will be generating next. So in our experience, building an SDR team takes about at least 3 months ramp time. We only get about 50% success rate. This is ours, as in only 1 out of 2 SDRs we hire end up being successful and staying with us after 3 months. So it's something that we're trying to improve. It could be our fault in training. We don't know. It could be. But right now, we're just, okay, we need 3 SDRs. We know so far we only have 50% success rate. We need to hire 6. That's the way we go about it. And what we have realized too, on average, we are asking our SDRs to send less emails. Most people in the industry, we know they are targeting between 50 to 100 activities, either email, social, or calling a day per SDR. And in our opinion, that's way too many. If you are sending that many, you don't have the time to personalize it. And if you don't personalize it, more of those emails are ending up in junk mail, or people just sending it, mark it as spam. When that happens, in the long run, more and more of your emails are going to be ending up in the spam folder, right? And then the efficacy of your cold email is going down too. So it's very important actually to send less emails that most people are appreciating, and the percentage of emails being marked as spam by your recipient and the percentage of emails that are getting response back needs to be pretty balanced in order for you to continue being able to do this outbound in the long run. Otherwise, within a few months, no one is responding to our outbound outreach. So we see more success if you use multiple channels. Email, phone, and LinkedIn is the way once you email someone, try to engage them within LinkedIn. We internally use LinkedIn a ton, where if you notice people are mentioning something on their LinkedIn posts, we will then try to engage with them. Or our marketing team actually spends a lot of time building contents that we're posting in LinkedIn, and then we will be prospecting people who like the posts. So our marketing and SDRs actually work hand in hand. We try to give our SDRs warm leads rather than cold leads, that these people are already liking contents from marketing, from social media. So lastly is that we realized that our SDRs who are successful have really competitive and aggressive nature, that they just don't take no for an answer. When they try to do cold email it's easy for someone to say, I don't have time right now. The better one somehow is able to turn that no into a 10 minutes conversation. Like someone say, oh, I don't have time right now, but he asks, oh, but how are you, are you meeting your quota this month? Or are you meeting, how are you currently doing the leads? And somehow that turns into a conversation that 10 minutes later, okay, I'll take the meeting with you. So it takes skills and it takes practice, but after seeing, that's why training is very important. The newer guys, the younger guys, typically give up really easily. They just think this is impossible. Who is going to take my cold calls? But after seeing the more experienced SDR did it, they finally, they realize, okay, this is some of the tips, tip and tricks that they can do. One last thing that is actually the biggest idea from what we have discovered today is that we realize that SDR team are often being seen as the most junior people in the company. They are the most usually the least paid, because usually they're the most junior who are out of college and are treated the worst, they're just the assistant of the AEs, whose job is just like making appointments for the salespeople. We are trying to do it another way where SDRs are the most important people in our company because they are our brand advocates. They are the face of the company who is there first. If you remember my slide from the beginning, first impression matters. Your website, your blog, your cold email, and your SDRs is one of those. They are the people who are out there representing you, your company, and your brand. Who are these people? We are now no longer hiring out of grad. We hire people with experience who we think can represent our brand and can speak to what we are about. We spend marketing dollar to promote our SDRs as industry experts. We ask them to make video content. We put a lot of actually social advertising to promote some of this content about how they're doing their cold emailing, what some of their tips, some of their tactics, and we promote this content. So we promote our SDR and we nominate them to be
SDR
of the year.
Just touching base, checking in.
Some SDRs think it's okay to show your prospects no love and respect, or that it's okay to give more than take when they prospect.
If you want a demo, just let me know. I'll get one booked.
Some SDRs leave the ball in their prospects' court and don't have a clear call to action, or think sending a templated email is fine. But one SDR that doesn't do this is Jeremy Levier from LeadIQ. Jeremy Levier has spent the past few years helping SDRs everywhere improve their prospecting and is constantly innovating his outreach.
Jeremy, how many ops are you at so far this month? It's the last day of April.
69.
Just a couple months ago, he had the greatest month we've ever seen, 69 opportunities in 1 month. Whether he is singing songs to prospects, lip-syncing raps about their beloved cities, and even leaving voicemails warning prospects he'll be sending them a prospecting video with a dancing banana, Jeremy is what you call a game day player.
One prospect Jeremy reached out to, he found out that the business development manager was having a kid. So what he did was, Jeremy worked with his girlfriend, they made a little baby onesie with the logo of his company on it. Guess what? We got the meeting.
If Andy didn't convince you, just look at his responses from his prospects.
Fantastic outreach. Above all, the most impressive details was the throwback jersey. Great touch. Hey dude, so I had lunch with Annie today and gave you huge kudos for the way you kicked off the conversation. You did a great job of using something personal without being creepy. A fine line to walk for sure. Well done. Kudos to Jeremy at LeadIQ. Humor is really tough to get right in cold outreach, but he nailed it here. I really appreciate those that take the time to put thought into their approach. Obviously, he's seen my tweets. Hey Jeremy, your video is 10 out of 10. I'm free around 9 a.m. Pacific time. Killer outreach. I'm open anytime after 12 Central next Wednesday.
If you believe prospecting should be personalized, fun, and somehow disruptive yet polite, nominate Jeremy Levier as Sales Development Rep of the Year. This prestigious award will be presented by Tenbound at the Sales Development Conference on August 30th, 2018.
I hope to have your vote for Best SDR at the Sales Development Conference by Tenbound. I'm Jeremy Levier, and I approve this message.
Paid for by SDRs for Jeremy.
Okay, so basically, we and Jeremy won the SDR award. obviously we promoted that video everywhere. We tried to get a lot of our customers to agree with it, that this is how SDRs should be prospecting. This is how imagine if all of your cold emails is done in a thoughtful way, right? There would be less cold emails around. It would be better for the recipients, and we want SDRs to be like better SDRs, like basically elevate their position. This is not an easy position. Pay them more, find the right people to do that, and make SDRs be a position that's similar to AEs, not like more junior than AEs. So we put a lot of marketing into this, trying to actually put our SDRs as our brand advocates, the people who are reaching out to LeadIQ and how they should be doing things. And it's been working out well for us, right? As I mentioned, right, we are still in the beginning of scaling this, but we see a couple of examples that work well from what we have done in the past. And now we are hiring more and more people to grow this team, continuing this idea that outreach and outbound needs to be personalized. It needs to be put with thoughts, and the people doing it needs to be people who really cares for the company, for the job, and they're the brand advocates. They're not just people who felt this is an entry-level role and all they want to do is becoming the next AE, and I'm just doing this for a while trying to wait for that position to come. So to wrap up, the takeaways, outbound sales is really critical for most people, and most companies in the early days feel that it's very hard. We work with many companies that just felt that it's not working out for us. We will just put money in inbound. It is hard, it takes time, it takes investment, but if you put in a lot of effort in there, it can be for us almost 2 years before we finally get it going. It will be very rewarding, and it's the first step for you towards scaling your company. And lastly, again, SDRs are your brand advocates. Treat them like they are, pay them like they are, and it will really pay well for your company. Thank you. Do we have, 150? It's good? All right. Do we have time for questions, or no? Are we done? Okay, all right. Oh, we have 2 minutes. I didn't get it. Okay, we have 2 minutes. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. We have a service for sales development reps, actually. We help them with like finding leads, finding contact info, and then engage with emails or like calling to different platform, and then we sync it to their CRM.
Okay, so you guys have something I outsource to you?
No. So you have to have your own SDRs, and we are just a service, the platform for the SDRs to use. Yeah.
I really liked what you said about SDR as its own discipline. How do you convince people to do that when it's generally seen as just a stepping stone?
Sure, that's a very good question. So we have been, it's not easy, but we are very transparent in our hiring. Most SDRs, after doing SDRs for a couple of years, want to become an AE. But not everyone is good at closing. It's actually different skill sets. Like Jeremy is very good at getting the first appointment. He is not as suited to closing. And he enjoys what he's doing, just opening the door, right? There are many people who are like that, and they feel like they're stuck in other companies where they can't move up any longer because the expectation is becoming an AE. That's the next career growth. So we try to find people like that and convince them that come join us. We pay, you can earn the same or even more than AE if you're doing this well, because your job is just different than an AE. You are advocating our brand. And so one thing that we do is we revamp the SDR compensation. Typically, SDRs are paid like 40, 50. Right now, we up their base salary with the number of appointments and the quality they're bringing in. We also give them a closing commission when the opportunities close. Typically, SDRs do not get closing commission. So in our company, we give them closing commission so they are aligned with the AEs. We are still testing it out, but right now we do a lot of the main thing is recognition and compensation. The SDRs love it when they're being recognized. Like being put as brand advocate, then they don't feel like they're still the most junior level in the company. Yeah, great question. Thank you, Edith. Yeah. All right, any last question? Great, thanks so much.